Hey y'all, what's good in the proverbial hood?
What? I like that.
Bro, what is this girl? Oh my god. Sorry guys, I'm listening to something at the same time. So crazy. um Bye. I need to see this full thing tomorrow. I'm listening to it right now in my ear and I'm geeking. And she's so real for this. No, I can't show it like this. I can't show it like that. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. um so bruh. um Why does it always do this? I swear, man. Why? 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 Why does it always do this? Why? Why? Does it do me that way? Why? Why? Sorry. I got a tea bag here somewhere. Sorry. Such a strange person sometimes, but it's all good. In the proverbial hood. In the proverbial hood. I got some tea brewing over there. That's why you're hearing all that sound. And you know what? It's a good day for singing a song. It's a good day for moving along. Said it's a good day from morning till dawn. Something like that. No, it's something, and then it's a good day from morning till dawn. Something like that. Sorry. That was perfect for the moment. What was perfect for the moment? Why does that keep dropping? You know what? Wait a second. Oh. I am so ridiculous at this sometimes. My hands are drier than chips. I need to get some lotion. Should have known that beforehand. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars. Da, 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 on Jupiter's. In other words, hold my hand. Said in other words. Guys, do you know what someone told me today? Friends? One of my friends called me and he was like, you seem so happy, like, as of late. Like, I can just tell, like, you just feel different. Like, your vibe is just different. I was like, relax, bro, relax, bro. Sir, relax. The song Why song was perfect for the moment, even made me sing along. All right, Victor. That's what's up, man. Yeah, I be on point with that sometimes, you know? Just catching things in the right time. I'm gonna be reading a little bit Bible today. Today. What is a song with the word today in it? I don't know. By the way, guys, I have an assignment where I have to interview somebody for oh, shout out to the people sharing the stream. Thank you. God bless. But I have to interview someone from a different culture than myself. And so yeah, it's just based on like the difference in their culture and if it gives me like a paradigm shift just from talking to them or whatever. But yeah, my friend was like, "Oh, Kaysha, like you're so happy." All of a sudden, I was like, "Relax, bro. Relax, bro. Please relax, bro." Anyway, we're gonna be doing a little bit of reading, and we're gonna do in the year King Uzziah died, I saw the king high and lifted up. Sorry. Singing was the only way I was able to work in corporate America. Don't get me started. I know you've seen my corporate America posts. I went off on corporate America yesterday. Let me get some lotion and then start. Actually, let me put some tea, and then let me get some lotion and then start. What's your guys' favorite tea? Might not be a good idea, but hey, ASMR. Do it for the line. I ain't gonna do it. Do it for the line. I ain't gonna do it. Remember? That little girl was like stomping. I ain't gonna do it. And then she did it. That's like typical like girl antics. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Does it. Anyway, I got my tea here. Ready. My chai tea. My chai tea. Do you know what I actually really like? Tea and scones. Tea and scones. What I forget what the other things are called, but called biscuits, crackers, whatever. But scones are the best. Scones are even better than biscuits. But in North America, biscuits are actually cookies. Or no, biscuits for them are cookies. Biscuits in North America are scones. Yeah. Let me get some lotion and then get started on our reading. Sometimes I wonder if I should read just an ASMR. Give you guys sleepy vibes. Yeah. No. No. What are you guys doing tonight? Where are you guys listening to me from? I have so many followers from all over the place. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm coughing in your ears. This is definitely not as tingly, as it's supposed to be. But yeah, I have like listeners from all over the place. Where are you guys listening from tonight? Please tell me in the comments. And there's a weird bunch of you that always listen on X, but never actually say anything. And I'm like, okay, like guys, hello. Like, hi. Please say something, my friend. My friends. Oh, that comment is here, but how come I didn't see them all last time? Guys, I will never figure this out. I hate social media. Here I am all of the time, but I hate it in large part. So, let me get some lotion. The best lotion is cocoa butter Vaseline. Yep. Vaseline. But, you know. Guys, like every single day, I have somebody come up to me and tell me that they swear I'm like 18 or 19. Well, you're like 18. You're like 18, right? Nah, bro. You're like 19, right? Nah, bro. You're definitely younger than me, though, right? Nah, sir. Sorry. I'm definitely a geriatrics patient. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done with my antics now. In the year King Uzziah died, I saw him high and lifted up. God is able to do just what he says he would do. He's gonna fulfill every promise to you. Don't give up, no. As he won't. Chapter 5. Sorry. I'm out here coughing up a storm, but we out here. We out here anyways. Let me see if I can actually sit this. What do you do, man, you know? Nope. Okay. Bless up. Bless up. Okay, let's read. So if you guys want to follow along reading with me, we'll be reading from Isaiah 5. You said Cleveland, Ohio. I use coconut oil. You know what? At one point I thought about, what are you drinking? I'm drinking chai tea, my friend. Pulse Reloaded. There was a time I used coconut oil and even castor oil, because apparently that penetrates deep into your cells, and is also coconut oil is actually antibacterial for anybody who doesn't know. So if you do oil pulling when you finish brushing your teeth, coconut oil is pretty good for that because it is antibacterial. You can actually brush your teeth with coconut oil. It's very good for your teeth. Also, a clove. If you get whole cloves and boil them in your tea, or just boil them in general and drink it, cloves is really good for your teeth. Hack. I'm not sure about castor oil for that, but if you need a natural laxative, take a spoonful of castor oil and make sure you don't go anywhere for the rest of the evening and even the next morning, likely. Anyway, Isaiah chapter 5. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my well-beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. Okay. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine. and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now go to, I will tell you, what? And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. Huh. Hmm. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. Yeah, interesting. There's a little passage here for Isaiah 5, verse 1 to 7. It's called the Lord's Vineyard. The husbandman chooses a piece of land from the wilderness. He fences, clears, and tills it, and plants it with choice vines, expecting a rich harvest. This plot of ground, in its superiority to the uncultivated waste, he expects to do him honor by showing the result of his care and toil in its cultivation. So God had chosen a people from the world to be trained and educated by Christ. The prophet says, "The vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant." Isaiah 5, verse 7. Upon this people God had bestowed great privileges, blessing them richly from his abundant goodness. He looked for them to honor him by yielding fruit. They were to reveal the principles of his kingdom. In the midst of a fallen, wicked world, they were to represent the character of God. Okay. As the Lord's vineyard, they were to produce fruit altogether different from that of the heathen nations. These idolatrous peoples had given themselves up to work wickedness. Violence and crime, greed, oppression, and the most corrupt practices were indulged without restraint. Iniquity, degradation, and misery were the fruits of the corrupt tree. In marked contrast was to be the fruit born of the vine of God's planting. Christ Object Lessons, page 285. Um, what translation are you reading from? I'm reading from the KJV. This is let me show you. So this is the Remnant Study Bible with E.G. White commentary, and it's the King James Version Bible. So there's little comments in here that I sometimes read, little passages, and I say when I am reading it, and I divvy back to the verse when I'm finished. The oil pulling before or after brushing. Some people use it instead of toothpaste in general, but I would do both. Like, I would do it after brushing my teeth. Like, I would brush my teeth regular and then brush my teeth with coconut oil and like swish it oil around and spit it out. And your teeth feel really clean. Actually, I have also tried brushing my teeth with just coconut oil. It feels more clean than even if you use toothpaste. But I like to double up. Like, you can, when you do that, it just feels like squeaky clean. I don't know how to explain it. Coconut oil is nice. I wouldn't do it all the time though, because yeah, it's antibacterial, so it can be like a lot. It's good, but you don't want to do it like every single day. If you want something that's more natural, then you might want to use like charcoal or mix a few different, charcoal and mint and a few other things. I don't know. There's so many recipes online. Maybe one day I will make a batch of something natural and try it and put it out there. Who knows? Who knows? Um, Shout out to everyone listening on Rumble. Okay, I'm going back to reading. So we're going in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts, of a true many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah. I don't know what is this. What is an ephah? An ancient Hebrew unit of dry measure equal to a tenth of a homer, or about 1 bushel, 35 liters. The seed of an homer shall yield an ephah. An ephah is 35 liters. Okay, what is a homer? Ancient Hebrew unit of capacity, equivalent to 10 and a half, or latter, 11 and a half bushels, or 100 US gallons, 378 liters. The Greek poet Homer. Homer is a Hebrew word? Does that mean the Simpsons were Jewish? Wait a second. The name Simpsons is derived from the Hebrew and has origins in the name Simon, which means God has heard. Simpson, like Simon's son, maybe, is also a Hebrew boy name, which meaning such as God has heard, and son of Simon. As I said, Simon's son. Therefore, while Simpson itself is not a Hebrew name, its roots and meanings are linked to Hebrew origins. Okay, it's a derivative of it. Ah, there's a thing here. It says, what's Jewish about The Simpsons? My Jewish Learning. Wow. MyJewishLearning.com. What does this say? Jews and Judaism pervade this classic animated sitcom and its fictional town of Springfield. That's interesting. Anyways, not that it really matters. My favorite one is my grandpa's Hebrew Greek Key Study Bible, KJV. That sounds amazing. Like an actual physical Bible like that would be amazing. I have on my cell phone, the one with Greek and Hebrew, and that's very cool to me because you can read everything side by side, English, Greek, Hebrew. Amazing. But to have an actual book like that would be like, anyway, I don't want to geek out. Ever thought about beef tallow? Beef tallow on my face? No, have not. And beef tallow is not an antibacterial. So that would be a little bit different. So yeah, I have not thought about that. but maybe collagen. I don't know. But anyway. Okay, where have I lost myself? Okay. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine inflame them, and the harp and the viol, the tabret and pipe and wine are in their feasts. But they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory, and their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. What is a pomp? C'est quoi ça? What is a pomp? Oh, come on. A possession distinguished by ostentation and splendor, a pageant, a show of magnificence, parade, display, power. Ostentation. What? A gaudy outward display, a pretentious or showy or vulgar display, a lack of elegance as a consequence of being pompous and puffed up with vanity. Yikes. Oh, my foot fell asleep. Yikes. Okay. Okay, so and the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope, that say, let him take speed and hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. There's a little passage, by the way. I'm on verse 20, and there's a little passage. You said his notes are still in it. That's very cool. That's very cool. Like Anderson. Rapture soon. You say this every time, Lucero. I don't know what you mean, really, but hello, friend. Passage says, behind enemy lines. Satan will work with all his deceptive power to influence the heart and becloud the understanding, to make evil appear good and good evil. The stronger and purer the faith of God's people, the firmer their determination to obey him. The more fiercely will Satan strive to stir up against them the rage of those who, while claiming to be righteous, trample upon God's law, upon the law of God. It will require the firmest trust, the most heroic purpose, to hold fast the faith once delivered to the saints. Acts of the Apostles, page 431. Sorry. Je m'excuse. Désolé. Przepraszam. Sorry. Anyway, verse 21. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 21. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Another nation will punish Israel. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them. And the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar, and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. And then, chapter 6, Isaiah. Isaiah's vision of the Lord's glory. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Man, I will never forget. Oh, hi, Kara, Abayomi Kara, said awesome. Sorry, dear. Sorry for what? What are we apologizing for? My friend. Okay. I will not forget his intro, like it's just so funny to me. I have to show you guys one time, but I don't know if I would get copyright. You know what? I have to show you. It said, in the year King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord on the throne, high and lifted up. And then he was just pretty much, and then he went into the song. God is able to do, and he's just so funny. Just what he said he would do. Then he's gonna fulfill every promise to you. Don't give up, no. But he's like all that range, right? Don't give up on God, cause he won't. Anyway, let's keep reading. Distractions. I'm gonna have to show you guys. I'm just gonna have to show you guys so you can listen to it. But then I'll have to cut the YouTube stream because then I will get copyright. Okay, Isaiah 6, verse 1. Back again. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. How did Burr remember all of these anyway? In contrast with perfection, it's a little passage. As Isaiah beheld the revelation of the glory and majesty of his Lord, he was overwhelmed with a sense of purity and holiness of God. How sharp the contrast between the matchless perfection of his character, of his Creator, and the sinful course of those who, with himself, had long been numbered among the chosen people of Israel and Judah. Patriarchs and Kings, page 307. Real. Back to verse 4 of Isaiah 6. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, Lord of hosts, walking in the shadow of the cross. This little passage. There can be no self-exaltation, no boastful claim to freedom from sin on the part of those who walk in the shadow of Calvary's cross. They feel that it was their sin which caused the agony that broke the heart of the Son of God, and this thought will lead them to self-abasement. Those who live nearest to Jesus discern most clearly the frailty and sinfulness of humanity, and their only hope is in the merit of a crucified and risen Savior. Great Controversy, page 471. Verse 6 of chapter 6, Isaiah. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. Another passage called, We each have our work. To everyone who becomes a partaker of his grace, the Lord appoints a work for others individually. Individually, we are to stand in our lot and place, saying, Here am I, send me. Isaiah 6, verse 8. Upon the minister of the word, the missionary nurse, the Christian physician, the individual Christian, whether he be merchant or farmer, professional man or mechanic, the responsibility rests upon all. Ministry of Healing, page 148. Beautiful. Anyway, Isaiah, verse 9, chapter 6. Isaiah's message for Israel. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. And yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teil tree, and as an oak, whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seeds shall be the substance thereof. We'll do chapter 7 as well, only because after looking at it here, it looks like it might serve purpose for this night. Wait a second. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm so silly. I'm so silly. Let me drink something. Some tea first. Someone said the other day that I have very dry humor. Dry, wet, in between, I don't know. It works for me. It's all funny to me. Boom, boom, tsh. I don't know. But I guess that was also dry humor. I It probably sounded worse than it was actually meant to be, but I think you understand me. Okay, the virgin will have a child. Um, Isaiah chapter 7. The virgin will have a child. And it came to pass in the day of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, the king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Pekah, interesting, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood were moved with the wind. Then said the Lord unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Shear-jashub thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field, and say unto him, Take heed, and be quiet. Fear not, neither be faint-hearted for the two tails of these smoking firebrands. For the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria and the son of Remaliah, because Syria, Ephraim, the son of Remaliah, have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, Let us go up against Judah, and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. Thus saith the Lord God, It shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, Ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God, ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. And he said, Hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men? But will ye weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive, and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. There's a little passage. The power to discriminate between right and wrong we can possess only through individual dependence upon God. Each for himself is to learn from him through his word. Our reasoning powers were given us for use, and God desires them to be exercised. Come now and let us reason together. Isaiah 1 verse 18. He invites us. In reliance upon him, we may have wisdom to refuse the evil and choose the good. Isaiah 7 verse 15, James 1 and 5. Education, page 231. For behold, the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, and choose the good. The land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. The Lord shall bring upon thee, and upon thy people, and upon thy father's house, days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. And they shall come and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys, and in the holes of the rocks, and upon all the thorns, and upon all bushes. In the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely, by them that the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and two sheep. And it shall come to pass for the abundance of milk they shall give he. And it shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall give he shall eat butter. For butter and honey shall every one eat that is left in the land. And it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings. It shall even be for briars and thorns. What? And on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock, there shall not come thither the fear of briars and thorns. But it shall be the sending forth of oxen, and for the treading of lesser cattle. May the Lord bless the reading of his holy word. That, what is a briar, though? Briar? Briar. Briar. Okay. Tangled mask of prickly plants. Eurasian rose with prickly stems and fragrant leaves and bright pink flowers, followed by scarlet hips. Evergreen tree like Mediterranean shrub having fragrant white flowers in large terminal panicles and hard woody roots to make tobacco pipes. Images. Okay. I see. I see. Okay. Mm, I will read like a page or two from Great Controversy. Did I? Okay. Say what? I like that. Sorry. I'm sorry. I should have not. I should have not. I don't know why I said that. Um, why is my phone blowing up? Notifications. What? Some people say some weird stuff. I'm not gonna hold you. What? Y'all, sometimes men and like women can be so angry about like life, like, and I get it, but sometimes it's like, don't be angry, be happy. Some things just is like so unnecessary. It's like, why are you being so unnecessary for? Okay, we're not gonna worry about it. Great Controversy by AGW. We're reading this now. I'll read like a page or two, something like that. We are on page 19, so we start in the second paragraph. For 7 years, a man continued to go up and down the street of Jerusalem, declaring the woes that were to come upon the city. By day and by night he chanted the wild dirge. A voice from the east, a voice from the west, a voice from the four winds, a voice against Jerusalem and against the temple, a voice against the bridegrooms and the brides, a voice against the whole people. Ibid, this strange was this strange being was imprisoned and scourged, but no complaint escaped his lips. To insult and abuse, he answered only, Woe, woe to Jerusalem! Woe, woe to the inhabitants thereof! His warning cry ceased not until he was slain in the siege he had foretold. Not one Christian perished in the destruction of Jerusalem. Christ had given his disciples warning, and all who believed his words watched for the promised sign. When ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, said Jesus, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. Luke 21:20-21. Sorry. After the Romans under Cestius had surrounded the city, they unexpectedly abandoned the siege when everything seemed favorable for an immediate attack. The besieged, despairing of successful resistance, were on the point of surrender, when the Roman general withdrew his forces without the least apparent reason. But God's merciful providence was directing events for the good of his own people. The promised sign had been given to the waiting Christians, and now an opportunity was offered for all who would to obey the Savior's warnings. Events were so overruled that neither Jews nor Romans should hinder the flight of the Christians. Upon the retreat of Cestius, the Jews sallying from Jerusalem pursued after his retiring army. And while both forces were thus fully engaged, the Christians had an opportunity to leave the city. At this time, the country also had been cleared of enemies who might have endeavored to intercept them. At the time of the siege, the Jews were assembled at Jerusalem to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, and thus the Christians throughout the land were able to make their escape unmolested. Sorry. Without delay, they fled to a place of safety, the city of Pella, in the land of Perea, beyond Jordan. The Jewish forces, pursuing after Cestius and his army, fell upon their rear with such fierceness as to threaten them with total destruction. It was with great difficulty that the Romans succeeded in making their retreat. The Jews escaped almost without loss, and with their spoils returned in triumph to Jerusalem. Yet this apparent success brought them only evil. It inspired them with that spirit of stubborn resistance to the Romans which speedily brought unutterable woe upon the doomed city. Terrible were the calamities that fell upon Jerusalem when the siege was resumed by Titus. I actually like the name Titus, I can't lie. Anyway, the city was invested at the time of the Passover, when millions of Jews were assembled within its walls. Their stores of provision, which if carefully preserved would have supplied the inhabitants for years, had previously been destroyed through the jealousy and revenge of the contending factions, and now all the horrors of starvation were experienced. A measure of wheat was sold for a talent. So fierce were the pangs of hunger that men would gnaw the leather of their belts and sandals and the coverings of their shields. Great numbers of people would steal out at night to gather wild plants growing outside the city walls, though many were seized and put to death with cruel torture, and often those who returned in safety were robbed of what they had gleaned at so great peril. The most inhumane tortures were inflicted by those in power to force from the want stricken people the last scanty supplies which they might have concealed. And these cruelties were not infrequently practiced by men who were themselves well fed, and who were merely desirous of laying up a store of provision for the future. Thousands perished from famine and pestilence. Natural affection seemed to have been destroyed. Husbands robbed their wives, and wives their husbands. Parents, husbands, children would be seen snatching the food from the mouths of their aged parents. The children of the prophet, can a woman forget her suckling child? Received the answer within the walls of that doomed city. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. Isaiah 49, verse 15. Lamentations 4, verse 10. Again was fulfilled the warning prophecy given 14 centuries before. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Deuteronomy 28, verse 56 and 57. Ugh. The Roman leaders endeavored to strike terror to the Jews and thus cause them to surrender. Those prisoners who resisted were, when taken, were scourged, tortured, and crucified before the wall of the city. Hundreds were daily put to death in this manner, and the dreadful work continued until, along the valley of Jehoshaphat and at Calvary, crosses were erected in so great numbers that there was scarcely room to move among them. So terribly was visited that awful imprecation uttered before the judgment seat of Pilate. His blood be on us and our children. Matthew 27, verse 25. Titus would willingly have put an end to the fearful scene and thus have spared Jerusalem the full measure of her doom. He was filled with horror as he saw the bodies of the dead lying in heaps in the valleys. Like one entranced, he looked from the crest of Olivet upon the magnificent temple, and gave command that not one stone of it be touched. Before attempting to gain possession of this stronghold, he made an earnest appeal to the Jewish leaders not to force him to defile the sacred place with blood. If they would come forth and fight in any other place, no Roman should violate the sanctity of the temple. Josephus himself, in a most eloquent appeal, entreated them to surrender to save themselves, their city, and their place of worship. But his words were answered with bitter curses. Darts were hurled at him, their last human mediator, as he stood pleading with them. The Jewish the Jews had rejected the entreaties of the Son of God, and now expostulation and entreaty only made them more determined to resist to the last. In vain were the efforts of Titus to save the temple. One greater than he had declared that not one stone was to be left upon another. Expostulation. What is this word? What does expostulation mean? Expostulation. The act of expressing earnest opposition or protest, an exclamation of protest or remonstrance of reproof. Mm. Hi, John. You said dry sense of humor. That was me. I said it. Maybe satire is close to that. May go over some people's heads. I've been told I have dry sense of humor. Your sense of humor is familiar to me. Nice. Very nice. Um, Shout out to all my listeners on X. Guys, please go listen on Rumble, on my page, Real Talk with Kaysha. Probably would just be easier. I don't know. It would be cool. It would be cool also. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry. It's hot. That's still hot. Didn't put that back properly. Okay. Okay. The page 21, second paragraph. The blind obstinacy of the Jewish leaders and the detestable crimes perpetuated within the besieged city excited the horror and indignation of the Romans. And Titus at last decided to take the temple by storm. He determined, however, that if possible it should be saved from destruction. But sorry guys. Sorry. But his commands were disregarded. After he had retired to his tent at night, the Jews sallying from the temple attacked the soldiers without. In the struggle, a firebrand was flung by a soldier throughout an opening in the porch, and immediately the cedar-lined chambers about the holy house were in a blaze. Titus rushed to the place, followed by his generals and legionaries, and commanded the soldiers to quench the flames. His swords were unheeded. In their fury, the soldiers hurled blazing brands into the chambers adjoining the temple, and then with their swords they slaughtered in great numbers those who had found shelter there. Blood flowed down the temple steps like water. Thousands upon thousands of Jews perished. Above the sound of battle, voices were heard shouting, "Ichabod! The glory is departed." Ichabod, Ichabod Crane, something. Ichabod. What? What is the meaning of the name Ichabod? Ichabod. Ichabod, Ichabod. I swear that's what it is. The name Ichabod is of Hebrew origin, means no glory, or the glory is departed. Yeah! They shouted, Ichabod! The glory is departed. What? 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 Oh my god, Ichabod Crane! From the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Um, Ichabod Crane cartoon. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Yeah. Ah. Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, guys, if you know, you know Ichabod Crane. Anyway. Anyway. Dang, let me. That's just funny to me. The glory is departed. Ichabod. That's a new Hebrew word for you guys to learn. Wow. I feel like Is everything in Disney Hebrew? Secretly, like, is every? I'm not even gonna go there. I don't even want to. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. I don't even want to. Anyways, I think that. Yo. Anyway. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Titus found it impossible to check the rage of the Solidary. He entered with his officers and surveyed the interior of the sacred edifice. The splendor filled them with wonder, and as the flames had not yet penetrated to the holy place, he made a last effort to save it, and springing forth, again exhorted the soldiers to stay the progress of the conflagration. The centurion Liberalis endeavored to force obedience with his staff of office, but even respect for the emperor gave way to the furious animosity against the Jews. To the fierce excitement of battle and to the insatiable hope of plunder, the soldiers saw everything around them radiant with gold, which shone dazzling in the wild light of the flames. They supposed that incalculable treasures were laid up in the sanctuary. A soldier, unperceived, thrust a light torch between the hinges of the door. The whole building was in flames in an instant. The building smoke and fire forced the officers to retreat, and the noble edifice was left to its fate. It was appalling. It was an appalling spectacle to the Roman. What was it to the Jew? The whole summit of the hill will command the city, blazed like a volcano. One after another, the buildings fell in with a tremendous crash and were swallowed up in the fiery abyss. The roofs of cedar were like sheets of flame. The gilded pinnacles shone like spikes of red light. The gate tower sent up tall columns of flame and smoke. The neighboring hills were lighted up, and dark groups of people were seen watching in horrible anxiety the progress of the destruction. The walls and heights of the upper city were crowded with faces, some pale with agony of despair, others scowling unavailing vengeance. The shouts of the Roman soldiery as they ran to and fro, and the howlings of the insurgents who were perishing in the flames, mingled with the roaring of the conflagration and the thundering sound of falling timbers. The echoes of the mountains replied or brought back the shrieks of the people on the heights. All along the walls resound screams and wailings. Men who were expiring with famine railed their remaining strength to utter a cry of anguish and desolation. The slaughter within was even more dreadful than the spectacle from without. Men and women, old and young, insurgents and priests, those who fought and those who entreated mercy, were hewn down in indiscriminate carnage. The number of the slain exceeded that of the slayers. The legionaries had to clamber over heaps of dead to carry on the work of extermination. Millman, The History of the Jews, B16. That's a quote of a book in a quote of a book. Sorry, it's funny to me. I will finish. I will. I will finish this page. I will finish this page. Yeah. The slaughter within was even more dreadful than the spectacle from without. Men and women, old and young. Oh, wait a second. I already read that quote. Sorry. After the destruction of the temple, the whole city soon fell into the hands of the Romans. The leaders of the Jews forsook their impregnable towers, and Titus found them solitary. He gazed upon them with amazement and declared that God had given them into his hands, for no engines, however powerful, could have prevailed against those stupendous battlements. Both the city and the temple were razed to their foundations, and the ground upon the holy house had stood was plowed like a field. Jeremiah 26:18. In the siege and the slaughter that followed, more than 1,000,000 of the people perished. The, the survivors were carried away as captives, sold as slaves, dragged to Rome to grace the conqueror's triumph, thrown to wild beasts in the amphitheaters, or scattered as homeless wanderers throughout the earth. Amphitheaters. I don't know what it is that. What is meaning of amphi- amphitheater? An oval or circular structure having tiers or seats rising gradually outward from a central open space or arena. Geology. A level area surrounded by upward sloping ground. An upper sloping gallery with seats for spectators, as in theater or operating room. Okay, interesting. Um, the Jews had forged their own fetters. They had filled for themselves the cup of vengeance in the utter destruction that befell them as a nation, and in all the woes that followed them in their dispersion. They were but reaping the harvest which their own hands had sown, says the prophet. Sorry. O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself, for thou hast fallen by thine iniquity. Hosea 13, verse 9, and 14, verse 1. Their sufferings are often represented as a punishment visited upon them by the direct decree of God. It is thus that the great deceiver seeks to conceal his own work. By stubborn rejection of divine love and mercy, the Jews had caused the protection of God to be withdrawn from them, and Satan was permitted to rule them according to his will. The horrible cruelties enacted in the destruction of Jerusalem are a demonstration of Satan's vindictive power over those who yield to his control. We cannot know how much we owe to Christ for the peace and protection which we enjoy. It is the restraining power of God that prevents mankind from passing fully under the control of Satan. The disobedient and unthankful have great reason for gratitude for God's mercy and long suffering in holding in check the cruel, malignant power of the evil one. But when men pass the limits of divine forbearance, the restraint is removed. God does not stand toward the sinner as an executor of the sentence against transgression, but he leaves the rejectors of his mercy to themselves, to reap that which they have sown. Every ray of light rejected, every warning despised or unheeded, every passion indulged, every transgression of the law is a seed sown which yields its unfailing harvest. The Spirit of God persistently resisted is at last withdrawn from the sinner, and then there is left no power to control the evil passions of the soul, and no protection from the malice and enmity of Satan. The destruction of Jerusalem is a fearful and solemn warning to all who are trifling with the offers of divine grace and resisting the pleadings of divine mercy. Never was there given a more decisive testimony to God's hatred of sin and to the certain punishment that will fall upon the guilty. The Saviour's prophecy concerning the visitation of judgments upon Jerusalem is to have another fulfillment, of which that terrible desolation was but a faint shadow. In the fate of the chosen city, we may behold the doom of the world that has rejected God's mercy and trampled upon his law. Dark are the records of human misery that earth has witnessed during its long centuries of crime. The heart sickens and the mind grows faint in contemplation. Terrible have been the result of rejecting the authority of heaven, but a scene yet darker is presented in the revelations of the future. The records of the past, the long procession of tumults, conflicts, and revolutions, the battle of the warrior with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, Isaiah 9, verse 5. What are these in contrast with the terrors of that day when the restraining spirit of God shall be wholly withdrawn from the wicked, no longer to hold in check the outbursts of human passion and satanic wrath. The world will then behold as never before the results of Satan's rule. Pretty much. But in that day, as in the time of Jerusalem's destruction, God's people will be delivered, everyone that shall be found written among the living. Isaiah 4, verse 3. Christ has declared that he will come the second time to gather his faithful ones to himself. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Matthew 24, verse 30 and 31. Then shall they that obey not the gospel be consumed with the spirit of his mouth, and be destroyed with the brightness of his coming. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 8. Like Israel of old, the wicked destroy themselves. They fall by their iniquity. By a life of sin, they have placed themselves so out of harmony with God. Their natures have become so debased with evil that their manifestation of his glory is to them a consuming fire. Let men beware lest they neglect the lesson conveyed to them in the words of Christ, as he warned his disciples of Jerusalem's destruction, giving them a sign of the approaching ruin, that they might make their escape. So he has warned the world of the day of final destruction, and has given them tokens of its approach, that all who will may flee from the wrath to come. Jesus declares, "There shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations." Luke 21, verse 25, Matthew 24, verse 29, Mark 13, 24 to 26, Revelation 6, verse 12 to 17. And it goes on, this is the last page for the chapter, we'll just finish, why not? Those who behold the harbingers of his comings are to know that it is near, even at the doors. Matthew 24, verse 33. Watch ye therefore, are his words of admonition. Mark 13:35. They that heed the warning shall not be left in darkness, that day should overtake them unawares. But to them that will not watch, the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 2 to 5. The world is no more ready to credit the message for this time than were the Jews to receive the Savior's warning concerning Jerusalem. Come when it may, the day of God will come unawares to the ungodly. When life is going on its unvarying round, when men are absorbed in pleasure, in business, in traffic, in money-making, when religious leaders are magnifying the world's progress and enlightenment, and the people are lulled in a false security, then, as the midnight thief steals within the unguarded dwelling, so shall sudden destruction come upon the careless and ungodly, and they shall not escape. Verse 3. Wait, why can I not whistle all of a sudden? Why can I not whistle all of a sudden? Oh my goodness. No. It's not my time right now. Okay. The first Christians. We're going in page 25 next time. Wow. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Watch me sing. Oh, that's low. He comes. He comes. Glorious. Jesus comes to reign victorious. Da, 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 da. Oh, he comes. Yes, Jesus comes. Wait a second. Guys. I'm sorry, I'm so funny. I think I'm funny. I don't know. I think I'm funny. I'm a jokester. Be it dry humor or otherwise. I am I made two jokes today. It's funny because I make jokes, but I don't really like jokes. Like, I'm not okay. I don't really like jokes, like actual jokes. I make like jokes that are not really, jokes. They're not like directed jokes. I don't like directed jokes. I like jokes that are just like, you get it. I'm sure you get it. Okay, so we're going 8. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. People now are no more prepared than the Jews who were unaware at the time. That's crazy. Everything repeats. People don't think so, but it does. Okay, let me pray to close. And then I will do a few things. It's a good day, guys. For some reason, I feel like crying, but like it's a good day. Like I'm happy today, but I feel like crying many times today. I don't know. That's weird to me. That's why I don't like feelings. They lie. Like feelings lie way too much. Like it's a happy day. Like I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling good. I feel like crying. Feelings are the devil, man. I don't know. Feelings be lying, like just doing a whole bunch of unnecessary nonsense. Okay, let me pray before I. Okay, let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for another opportunity to wake up and experience life. Thank you for all that you have done for us. Lord, please help us not to be unaware of the signs of what you are telling us. Please open our mind and our hearts to the truth and understanding of what you have taught us in the Bible and what you are showing us every day in real time in our real life. Please help us to take the necessary action that you have set forward for us. And please help us to be diligent and to have faith in that process. Please forgive us where we are leaning on our own understanding and we might not be trusting you. Forgive us for our ignorance. Forgive us for our lack of willingness, and forgive us for our choice to be unaware and making the wrong decisions or deliberately not good ones. Help us as we go throughout the rest of this week. If anyone else is sick, please heal them of their ailments. Whatever anyone needs, please bless them. Please give them their heart's desires in accordance to your will so that they can fulfill a purpose within you and with those around you, around them. Please show us what you have set out for us, and please give us the courage and the strength to participate and help us to wake up with joy every morning in our hearts to tackle the day and what you have for us. And please open many doors of opportunity for us to continue to grow in you and to be greater. Please help us to turn away from all sin, whether it be it big or small. Please help us to do our best to draw closer to you every day and abstain from the very appearance of evil, please purify our hearts and our minds so that we can be more like Jesus, and that we might have a greater focus and better productivity spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And purify our minds and our hearts, Lord, and just help us in every way that we need it, in all the ways that we may or may not understand. Strengthen and purify us. Thank you for all that you've done and will continue to do in our lives, our hearts, and our homes, and those around us. And thank you for all the opportunities you've brought towards us to grow as individuals through hardship and happiness and peace and joy and long suffering. And help us to just enjoy the process and the end. Thank you again for all that you've done and all that you will continue to do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen, guys. Thanks for joining me for this show today. That's how I would say that, I guess, if I was Australian. Said, so glad you read Isaiah 6. There's a powerful and emotional part in the movie Fury, that part of the scripture recited, but you read the whole chapter. I needed this timely refresher. I'm having the same reaction when you said glory is departed. That's heavy, right? Right? Thank you. That was quite a bit in that sequence. So powerful. I read a whole New Testament, but it's been a while. Shame on me. Timely for me. So glad God made me. You hit the nail on the head there. No jokey jokes, but satire or dry. Yep. When I hear you make yourself laugh, I totally get it. Thanks. Yeah. I don't believe in making jokes on other people. I don't like that. I think, like, the worst thing that you can do, and EGW talks about it a lot in her writings as well, that you should not, like, the worst thing that you can do is make jokes on your partner. The person that you are sleeping with, that you are becoming intimate with, the people that you're building long-lasting relationships with, you should not make jokes on their downfall in any way possible. Like, it's just not, it's not good. Like, it's eventually, especially for women, it's going to break down their confidence, and they will no longer trust you. They won't want to sleep with you. Like, I've seen this happen time and time again, and it is not attractive. I don't know why people do that. I don't know why people make jokes about their, like, I cannot look at someone that I absolutely love and think of a painful joke to make about them. If I'm making a painful joke about you, I don't like you. When men approach me making jokes in a mean way to me, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, do you think that this is going to make me like you? Like, I'm extremely disturbed. I've never seen my dad my entire life make a downfall joke on anybody ever, and everyone thought he was funny. Because his jokes are intellectual. His jokes are something that everyone can laugh at, but it's not at the expense of someone else. I feel like when people make jokes at the expense of someone, it's because, like, they're insecure or something. You have to make someone else feel bad. It's just weird. It's just weird. And yeah, a lot of, even like a lot, like I said, EGW's books warns against it. Also based on the much experience she had counseling couples. She has wonderful books talking about, I think, counsels to young lovers and message young people. Something else. And she talks about this, and I've seen a lot of even counselors today talk about how dangerous that is, because that's going to chip at somebody. And that's true. If you if you're a guy and you ever make a joke at me, at my downfall, just know that I will never, like, we will never, you think, like, we're kikiing, ha 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 ha, yeah, I can laugh, but bro, don't ever come to me that way. Um, I just can't stand that kind of personality or behavior. It's cool for some people, maybe you like it, whatever, but there's consequences to everything. That's just what it is. You said, saw my brother in law literally do this around my sister, divorced him. Exactly. At the expense of, yes, 100% agree. I never do. Exactly. Exactly. Women cannot handle that. Like the way that men, I don't even, I don't even want to think about it. It makes me so mad. Like, like there, a lot of you know, um, a lot of you know, like what happened to me. And today's a wonderful day, might I add. Guys, I have everything I need um in order for me to start getting things going in a way where I can like help myself. I'm finally in school, I'm working, although I am not recommending anybody to go to school and work. Like if you can out of high school can find a good job that you enjoy and find a husband and build a life with him, do that instead. 100% do that instead. Do not do what I am doing if you do not have to. Like if this is not like if you have a choice, do not do this, okay? Like I'm telling you. Focus on building a family. Like that's what you need. As a woman, you need to secure a husband in this life, a husband and a family, and have children and do God's work with him and do miraculous and wonderful things. And he will advise you to do whatever you need to do, whether it's school or work or whatever, to grow the family. And he will do school or work or whatever to grow the family, whatever. That is up to you together. But, bro, don't just jump out of the hot water, the pot into the frying pan, and then just go. Like, no, please save yourself the burden. But I, I'm, I'm in a very good. I'm, I can't say it like that because that's not actually true. The fact is, I'm just in a better position because I have now the ability to start going in a different direction. So work and school, and there's the opportunity, right? And all we need is opportunity. And although like all the odds are stacked against me, whatever. But the fact is, you guys know that for a long time I was hunted down by evil people. Excuse me, not me burping on the stream. Anyway, I was hunted down by evil people who are constantly trying to make me out to be an illegal when I'm a fully documented American Indian. And some guys they would be nice, or they would say they liked me, but then they would make jokes about me being an illegal. And I just don't find that funny because I've had so much abuse happen to me because people done that. People tried to make that lie and do that. It's just like it wasn't funny. I don't like jokes like that. Like I don't like jokes when people like attack you personally because I'm like, okay, now you're my op. Like you're literally my op. And like maybe they're a genuine friend. Maybe that's just the way they operate and maybe they just don't understand. But if I tell you I don't like it and you still do it, it's like if I punched you in the face and you told me to stop, but I kept punching you in the face, it's like why would you. Anyway, that's not me. That's not how I operate. I'm a very delicate and soft person, and I like to be soft with people, and I appreciate softness and gentleness. And I don't know why a lot of men today don't think that women enjoy gentleness. They think if you're gentle that you're weak. No. I think men who are mean are weak. I think men who are like rude and disrespectful and like yelling all the time and emotional, and I think those men are weak. I think the men who are composed and like consistent and level-headed and pragmatic and logical and calm and refreshing, like those men are exceptionally strong because it takes a lot more to do that than to do the other thing. And like I said, I've never seen my dad like just be losing it on women or like even, and women come at him sideways all the time and he's just like, okay, well this is because the whatever. Calm, cool as a cucumber. Cuz he's like, if someone doesn't understand, like what am I gonna be angry about? Like it's not gonna change anything. I just have to fix it. I'm just like, you're right, Dad. You're right. And then I try to practice the same thing. And I'm a female. Why do I have more resolve emotionally than a man? That's just weird to me. That's weird to me. And I mean, anyway, I'm just different. I was raised by a father. And some men raised without fathers are still that calm and collected, like, because they had to learn to still be men by themselves, and they learned. Because my father was raised in a house full of women because his dad died when he was young. And he had to teach himself. He said he had to teach himself because that's what men have to do when they're without. So, like, hi, can you pray for my dad and mom that they repent of their sins and be baptized? I don't know the full situation, but I will definitely pray for your family, sir. God, John said, I saw one of your shorts. You had a list of traits a man would have to have. I was literally following item by item. And the last one, how understanding he'd have to be. Yep, I totally get it. Oh, sorry, you're a ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I will pray for your family. I'm sorry. Yeah, John, understanding is the biggest part. My father is an exceptionally compassionate man, and I've seen him only show compassion and love to people and grace and mercy his entire life. That doesn't mean they never had consequence. My father gave me loads of consequences. In fact, he never let me escape consequences. I was constantly frustrated because I was like, oh, why am I always having consequences? And like my friends um don't have issue. Um and he's like, those are not my kids. He's like, you're my kid and I need to make sure that you're gonna succeed. Like, as I'm an adult, I'm so glad he did that um because the older I get, the more clear is to me who was raised with and without a father. Like, I can tell when a man approaches me to talk to me if he was raised by a single mother or not. And I can certainly tell if a woman was raised by a single mother or not, because it's far more obvious with with women. But with men, like, it's low-key scary. If they didn't learn to teach themselves, like, it's scary. Just like women, fatherless women are scary too. Because that's just whatever feels good is good. By the way, guys, if you wanna um support the work that I'm doing, please go to the links in the bio and donate to everything that I do on this show. And the Karis Project, which I host with my father, is completely on our own dime. So please help keep us going and donate if you can. And you could also support us by subscribing to us on X, um, or The Chronicles of My Heart, which is a Substack that I have, um, that I started. We also have our thing on Spotify. We're actually playing our shows on Spotify as well, so you can go and stream there. So yeah, check that out. The Karis Project. Karis. The Karis Project. From the Greek word haris. But anyway. I have this that I'm gonna do because I did this with you guys last time and I actually enjoyed talking about it. So I'm going to do this again and then I'll be done. Because this stream is long, low-key. And also we're on iHeart.com. So anyway, I'm on chapter 6. of this book. Wait, did I do chapter 5, the nature versus nurture? Oh, I'm on chapter 5, nature versus nurture. I lied. Okay, so here's what's asking. It's my sociology book. Keep calm and understand society. So it says explain Cooley's looking glass self-concept in relation to your own experience. Okay, so let's go back to the actual definition here, because I saw it. So here it explains, it says the looking glass self is, so it says you did not simply, it's like a picture of a boy where it's like, it says that they're like bad, stupid, lazy, and dumb. I guess that ties into what I was just saying about making jokes. But anyways, it said you did not simply wake up one morning and decide to build your self-concept from scratch. We do not start from a blank slate and choose the characteristics of ourselves that we would like to have. There is no cafeteria full of characteristics from which we can pick and choose to build ourselves. Charles Horton Cooley, a student of George Herbert Mead at the University of Chicago, introduced the idea of the looking glass self. Cooley said that the concepts we have of ourselves, the conceptions we have of ourselves, are derived from the responses of others to us. It is a lot like looking into the looking glass or mirror of society. When different people, particularly significant others, I was just saying that, tell us that we are good looking or dumb or laid back or observant or clumsy and so on, these become part of the way we view ourselves. And it shows a picture of the elements of personality. It says conscious, pre-conscious, ego, superego, ID, and unconscious. So this is exactly what I was just saying about you should not make jokes about your significant other because it will cause a lot of damage. You said, hopefully you don't forget. God bless you. I won't forget. Let God's will be done. I'll pray with my family about it. John, all those traits, I'm like, yes, that's me. Understanding, empathy. Didn't go far with the young women I knew. Born wrong place, wrong time, I say to others anymore. Also, sometimes there's no need to know the situation, but just to pray. You're right. Sometimes it's okay just to pray. No, you shouldn't, like, you can't, how this relates to myself. I just gave you guys an example of how it relates to myself, because there was a lot of people who said they were my friend. And they would make jokes about me being an illegal, and I'm like, I thought we were friends. You know that this very deeply hurts me, but they do it anyways. Now, does that mean that they are criminals per se? I mean, not really. They're just not very good friends. Because things like that, when you're actually, because if someone said something to me like, this is difficult, because if someone said to me, Kaysha, you're ugly, I'd be like, okay, and like, what does that have to do with me? How does this affect me? I do not care. Because what do I like you? Like, am I trying to marry you? Why do I care that you think I'm ugly? That literally does not matter to me. Kaysha, you're fat. Okay, well, what do you want me to say? You know, or Kaysha, you're dumb. What do you want me to say? What can I say? You have your preconceived notion already. There's nothing I say that's going to change it. And it doesn't affect me because that's not going to affect my ability to dress nice. It's not going to affect my ability to perform. It's not going to affect my ability to acquire money or help myself. Unless you are like in a position where I want to get work from you, right? In that case, I'm like, well, oh shoot, then I might, that's different. But the comments, people saying, Kaysha's an illegal, blah, blah, blah. That's different because now that affects my potential to live or die, that affects my potential to be unlawfully imprisoned, that affects my potential to work, to study, to literally live and exist as a human being. It puts my life in danger. That is a different thing that affects your looking glass kind of thing, because then you're constantly like, someone else's perception of the reality affects my ability to breathe oxygen. That's when I get pissed off. That's when I get really pissed off. But it doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't really matter anymore. That's not even like, it doesn't matter anymore. And those people are going to jail. Those people are going to jail. My father will be sure that those people go to jail, every single last one of them. And everybody who involves themselves in that, I'm going to report them. I'm just going to continue to report them. Come after me, I'm going to report you. I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm fully documented. So it doesn't matter now. Like, I've always been, but I'm just like, as you guys know, throughout the history of what's going on, I'm just now in a better place in a small way where I can start getting on my feet. And anyone who comes after me, I'm calling the police. I don't care. But before, this was such an issue where it's like, my ability to receive help from anybody was based on someone's perception of reality. And that affected me mentally and emotionally, because it's like, I know the truth. I have all the documents to prove that I am saying the truth. But your feelings dictate my ability to breathe oxygen. That's the only thing that really bothers me. If you just think I'm stupid or fat or ugly or dumb, or it doesn't do anything to me. Like, it's not going to change my life, right? So the looking glass, the only thing, and even still, even though all of those things hurt my feelings very badly because it wasn't true, I was being gaslit, people had put guns on me, I'd been drugged, all sorts of things. I was trafficked. Regardless of that, I still had to perform even though my feelings were hurt. So it's like the perception of myself was being affected because of all of the gaslighting and abuse I was experiencing, which was extremely hard to deal with because it's a very lonely thing to go through. But I still had to perform, which is even worse because you have like all the rejection around you 24/7, and you still have to go where the rejection is, knowing you're going to be rejected, and perform anyways and do the things you need to do for the potential long-term benefit of the performance. And you're just constantly being beaten down 24/7, and you just want to unalive. Yeah, I have to be careful saying that, but it puts people in that position because a human is not above torture, which is also why a lot of people, as the Bible was talking about and the great controversy, you are divinely protected by the evils of this world. Literally divinely protected, because humans in and of themselves cannot overcome these things. They cannot. Because without God, you have no reason to. There's literally no reason to overcome anything without God. Do you think without God that I'd be sitting here going through all of this and still decide to be like, yeah, I love God, he loves me, he's protecting me, and I'm trying to do this so that I can help others understand the grace, the tender grace and mercies of God and his love and his compassion. No, there would be no reason. I would be like out here doing what everyone else is, dropping it like it's hot on like some stripper pole, or flipping tricks in the streets. I don't know. I don't know what they call them because I never done it. But like I'd be making money. You know, I'd be flowing cash, making it rain. So none of these things can be done without God. So your looking glass for yourself is dependent, cannot be dependent on how you see yourself, because humans are so affected by the perception of others, because the perception of others can affect your reality. But when you look at God's perception of you and the value he has for you, then the perception of those around you, regardless of if they are perceiving the reality correctly or not and doing things against you based on that false perception, it matters not, because all the things you were doing each step of the way is for the long-term benefit that God is preparing for you, and you are being refined throughout the process to be prepared to accept the greatness that God has for you down the line. You are who he says you are, and your acts of service towards him is the act of faith in receiving and accepting who he says that you are, and you are actively becoming and being that very person through that faith, through those actions. And so the perception of what people are doing to you doesn't matter, because the manifestation of those actions through God will justify over the long period of time. God will vindicate you, but you are also doing the work for the vindication. You are working with God to receive that, and you are working with God to receive the character of what you are proclaiming yourself to be. And you're not really doing it verbally. The proclamation is in your actions, in your life every single day. You have to heed his warnings and not be unaware. You have to be very aware of what God is telling you is going to happen and follow those steps each part of the way. So, again, like the looking glass, the looking glass self, it doesn't really. I'm not going to say that there were not days that I was not deeply sad, because if you follow me on social media, you can go back. I'd never deleted anything. You can see all the days that I was very, very sad, because I was like, I don't understand. I can't understand that the world is this evil, that it would treat someone like this. Like, I would not. It's like I couldn't fathom that life could be this crazy. But I am battle tested. And I was thinking earlier, I was like, I've been battle tested since pretty much conception. I've been battle tested and ready since like conception. And I'm kind of grateful for that, because although it was very difficult and very painful, and some days very, very sad, I I can deal with pretty much anything. And there will come a time when we need to deal with pretty much anything, because the end times will come. We are in end times now. No one knows the day or the hour. I'm not saying that. Don't even like go there. It's just the fact that we are in end times, and it's very clearly like end times. There will come a time when things will get substantially worse and there will be no going back. And we will literally just wait to see Jesus burst from the eastern sky. Um and we will suffer. And I'm glad that I suffered then, so that what I go through later, it won't be exactly a breeze, but in comparison, yeah. Because, yeah, if you've been in battle for a long time, it's like it's on site, it's on go when something goes down, as opposed to the people who were just chilling their whole life. By the time something happens, they don't know what to do. They're like running a chicken running around with his head cut off. My granny grew up on a farm. She said chickens, when they cut their head off, they would run around for a short period of time. That's a real thing. So, yeah, we have to understand as people how we directly affect other people with the things that we say and do. Because our actions and our false perceptions and our ignorance can very much affect the reality of someone's life and the potential outcomes or circumstances for their success or their destruction. We have to be very diligent about and cautious about the way we approach these things with people. Because it's a very delicate matter, because one small lie could be the end of somebody. And that's a very sad thing. I don't want to be responsible for something like that. And then on the flip side, understanding our own actions and consequence to other people and how we affect them, and why we need to be diligent with our understanding and our perception and our reality. On the flip side, you need to understand that the things around you are not you. And although you will take a hit from those things, you've got to find a way to separate yourself. There's a duality to it that, as a woman, I think is very hard. Because there's a duality to evil that I can't fathom. Because it's like my dad says that with men, it's all war. It's all war all the time, and everyone's a casualty of war. They just don't care. It is what it is. Women think that men are being like misogynist or like anti-women, and it's not the case. It's like they're just picking people off until they can get themselves to the top and win, because that is a man's game. It's war. You step out the house and it's war all the time. It's why they want to come home to peace, and that's fair. But women don't think like that. So when so many bad things happen all the time, or when there's words, because women are emotional, when there's words that are constantly hurtful, they can't understand the duality of, because men even who are going to war could like sit down and like laugh together and then still go to war and be like, okay, the greatest person won. Like, it's not something I understand. It's not something I understand. I can't even put that part into words. But it's like women cannot function that way. We just need to accept the fact that those things are not legitimate. And because we're women, we cannot be around that constantly, because that's how women unalive, like literally. They cannot handle that. They can't, because the problem is they don't know how to fix it. And the problem is they can't fix it. So they will circle the drain, if that makes sense. So you also have to surround yourself with people who, and I'm not saying don't surround yourself with people who are going to give you critique, because you need to grow, you need critique. But you need to surround yourself with people who will give you genuine critique, instead of people who will just tear you down just for the fun of it, just for the giggles and the ha-has. Like, uselessness. Can't do that. You need to know the difference. But that's also why it's good to have a father, because a father will tell you if someone is a good person to be around you, or a person that shouldn't be around you, that's not helping you grow. It's also why women shouldn't have men around unless their father approves them, honestly. And traditionally speaking, that was never a thing. Men did not have as much access to women traditionally as they did now, because fathers were like, what do you want? What do you want to be alone with my daughter for? What do you want to talk to my daughter for? Or my wife? Go away before I punch you or unalive you. Like, literally, that was traditionally, because it's like, what are you, like, what are you, a predator? Like, what are you, like, honestly, it's like, are you trying, in fact, in old times, if you tried to spend time alone with women, you were forced to marry her, or you were unalived. There was always the potential of that, because they thought that you were trying to do something messed up, which is the case. And then you might have to duel somebody, because you were putting their finance and their social status at risk, because then you make their daughters look like a floozy, which makes the father look like a nasty man, a bad man, and a clown. and you just destroy the whole family's name, and then the sisters can't even marry with good standing and get proper dowries or whatever because the older sister is a floozy. Or and if it was the man that did it, like a brother, an older brother that did it, then they think the father's raising predators. Society used to be more things were just cut and dry. And now men just have so much access to women in ways that I think is just so ungodly. But I mean, friends do this amongst each others too. Men and men, women and women. I'm not into that. I'm not into that. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to be honest with you. They're going to tell you the truth so that they can help you grow, because someone who cares about you is going to hurt your feelings. They're going to make you feel bad sometimes. But they're not going to take useless shots at you and put you down for the sake of putting you down. That's like such a useless endeavor. It doesn't like, there's no use to that at all. I don't know. I don't know. You said a lot of us have to learn on our own. Yes. Book of Revelations. We were made complementary, not equal. Exactly. Complementary, not equal. Um, I think equal in value, not equal in value, not equal in like purpose or position. Um, you said I don't blame you one bit for what you said. So many guys are like a few minutes ago. I'm aware how many guys are almost feral. No wonder you said your father should vet any man first. Yeah, my father always tells me that not to trust a man that he hasn't vetted. And I'm like that. Like, I don't care how much I like someone personally. If my father has not vetted you, until my father vets you as a person, I don't trust you. Like, not seriously, because I can't, because I have no way of knowing. And like, I can't read your actions like a man. Like, I would be stupid to think that I understand the mental and emotional perception and actions of a man like a man. Like, it's just stupid. Um you said that sucks. I'm sorry. I must have felt like you against the world. It did feel like me against the world for a very long time. Like, it was me and my dad against the world, but I had a father, so that's the difference. Like, that was the difference. If I didn't have a father, I would be dead. Like, just on so many different various levels, I'd be dead. Like, straight up and down. I've watched some, not all of your uploads. I've genuinely cried mid-December. I'll leave it at that. I can't help but say I really get you. There, I said it. Appreciate it, man. What you said, that's exactly what I was thinking and saying. What broke my heart, how could anyone treat you the way they did? And just like you said, that's exactly what I felt right in here. Yeah, I'm the kind of person, like, I will treat someone how I want to be treated. And in fact, I will try to go out of my way to treat them the way that I think they want to be treated, if as long as it matches respectfulness. So I don't understand why people like that, but my dad says if you understand, then there's something wrong with you too. You will make yourself crazy trying to understand people. You can't. So I get it. You will still have days you feel like crying, ruminating. There's days that will happen. I get it. I don't even ruminate. I don't even really think of things like that. But I think some things run in the background, like some tabs run in the background or something in your mind sometimes, maybe, and you just feel sad or whatever. I don't know. You said, right, courting for marriage. No one around here gets that. I see it like you do. Others don't think like men that are respectful of women exist. I'm like, I'm from the past. No options for me, right? Thanks a lot. I think I know some men that are like very respectful, very kind, like very kind, and very refreshing to interact with. Like, very awesome, like awesome people. And my father is one, obviously, but I know some within like my age range, and they're just very cool. I have to just leave it at that. Very cool. Um, I very much enjoy interacting with them, but not many. Just like women, there are great women, but I think all of the great men and the great women are being like suppressed. They're being like censored or whatever. because obviously they want the people who are not promoting anything good to be at the forefront, because then they can do whatever they want with those type of people, and it deters people away from God. Wow. Describe a situation you know about, or perhaps from your own experience, in which group conformity or groupthink took place. Bruh, COVID. COVID. And you know what? Even like a lot of like racist tendencies, because I feel like people online are just like, they'll choose what group to be like racist towards, and then everyone will turn on them. I saw this one guy who's like Puerto Rican and black, and everyone's trying to say that he's like Indian from India. I'm like, are they trying to like get him deported? Now, I don't play games with like that. Every time someone accuses somebody of um like being a different ethnicity, I just assume, because there's such subtle ways that people accuse you of being an illegal immigrant or a criminal, and it's crazy to me, you know? And then everyone just hops on the bandwagon. I'm like, I'm not going to hate everyone from a group or a country or religion or race or whatever just because you said that I should, or they're awful people. I've not met every single person from that group, religion, or race or whatever. I cannot fairly or logically say all of it is bad. And it's a very feminine way of thinking. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry. Racism is extremely feminine because it's easier to make women racist than men, because women think if one thing's bad, then it's all bad. If they have a bad experience with like a black person or a native, then they're scared of all black people are native. Sometimes. Sometimes, not always, but it's much easier with women to do that than with men. Because men will still compartmentalize and work with other men that they don't like, and still look at the circumstances and their capabilities and challenge it against various things, right? And women don't do that. We just don't think like that, and we don't solve. We assist and help. We don't solve. So when men are going around online like, oh, we shouldn't, do this or that because this person's from here or whatever. It's like, like, why are you thinking like a woman? Why are you picking out words, and why are you thinking like a woman? Like, I don't trust you. Like, what if someone from India was a really great person? And what if they were the answer to what you needed? Say you had a team of people, but you were missing like one piece of the puzzle. What if that one person was an Indian who had exactly what you needed, but because you hated Indians, you threw away your opportunity and the opportunity for many other people to have what they needed, because you rejected that person just because they were from India. And I'm not talking about illegal immigrants. I'm talking about legal people who come here respectfully through the legal channels to the country. Um, I won't even eat Hispanic food. I won't even eat Hispanic food, or I don't like to. Like, if I have to, it's like, okay, this is the only option. But I will not go out of my way to eat Hispanic food because I am so traumatized from the events. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where it's easier to make women racist than men. I'm not racist to Hispanic people, but I avoid anything Hispanic because I'm afraid of what happened to me, and how, because of how easy it was for everyone to jump on a groupthink mentality. Anyone who has like a tone of skin like me, or, and now my hair is predominantly straight, you know, I'm terrified in a lot of ways of interacting with people or doing certain things that would bring a certain perception of a false reality in the mind of someone who could potentially be racist or predisposed to racist tendencies, which is a large population of people. You see how people end up having, how you end up having to, you get it. I think you get it. And so that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Um, you said, I want to meet Pops. I promise we still exist. Not equal in purpose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get in line, my friend. My poor father. For some reason, everyone today, I had someone call me and ask me if they could talk to my father. And a whole bunch of people sending me messages. I don't know what it is today. I don't know what it is about today that so many people are like, oh, I want to speak to your father to court you. I'm like, okay, well, here's his page. Do what you will, my friend. And good luck to you. Um, but as for me, I will take the man that has my mind. But um you said I saw where you said he could be Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Exactly. You gotta be careful. That's good insight. One thing makes a person dismiss a whole group, and women tend to think more that way. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What if the guy that is trying to talk to you is like a serial rapist and murderer? And you don't know. What if he just seems like a nice guy? You just don't know. Because you're not reading, you know, the signs that men are doing. Men are exceptionally deceptive. They're very good at deception. Men are good at mirroring you. Traditionally in Hollywood, and even throughout history, men played the role of women in plays and in shows. Men. Men, and you'll see, men are more convincing transgenders than women are convincing as men transgenders. There was a woman, Nikki Tutorials. She's a transgender, she's a man. But for years, nobody knew. But when you see a woman turn to a man, you know. You know. Like the mannerisms, you know. But the man to the woman, I was like, whoa. I felt it in my soul, the deception. I felt it in my soul, honestly. Men are exceptional deceptors because they're like chameleons. They will just, their actions, because they're not doing words, they're doing actions. Men will give you what you want to see, what they think you want to see, or give you actions that like will make you respond in the way that they know can get what they want, because they know how to trigger a certain response to you. Because my dad tells me, men are built to create the circumstances for your success, and they will also create the circumstance for your destruction, like their enemies or whatever. If they are treating you like they're creating circumstances for your destruction, they know what actions they need to demonstrate in front of your face or even around you in your environment, ways that you can't even see, to make you, to elicit a certain response out of you without you even knowing that they're the ones who did it. It's terrifying when men are evil that way, and such a blessing when men are good, because they just do those things. Like my friend told me today, he was like, um I can tell that there's something like around you, or something that's like makes you more happy or whatever. I don't know what it is per se, if it's like, new people or whatever, but he's indicating to me that he can see that it's an outside source, like there's a new object or thing around me that's bringing about like a certain level of happiness or something. Women don't think like that. Like my father actually says this is how men actually know when women have different men around. Like if women are cheating, like men don't need to like check their phone or something, because they can see like through the actions that another man is influencing the woman's behavior. Or like if a man is interested in a woman, then he can see that her through her actions that a man is already influencing her behavior. So he'll know like, oh, this woman probably has a man or whatever. Men think and read in actions, and women don't do that. Like I don't know how, like, women just don't do that. So yeah, the point is, I need my father to tell me if a man is a scumbag or not. Because I don't know. I just don't know. Like, there are certain things that men do that blatantly I'm like, okay, no, please stay away from me. Like, I'm sure some people say that think the same thing about me, like, because you have your preference and you have your preferences and the things that you like and don't like. But I just be scared of some people, I'm not gonna lie. Because some of y'all out here, yeah, some of y'all are insane in the membrane. It's scary. So yeah, anyways, group conformity, group think, definitely the code. You guys already know. And racism is definitely groupthink because a lot of people on Twitter or X right now is being racist just to get clicks and views. I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of you just want attention, and it's actually sad because it's like, what's wrong with you? And it's embarrassing. It's honestly embarrassing because it's like if you had something of value to share, you wouldn't be so hateful to people. People with value don't feel the need to put other people down all the time. Like people who know they have value. So that's what's crazy to me. Because, like, do you not have something to share in and of yourself? It's like there's a bunch of bandwagons that will pop off every week on Twitter or X. And you know the people who are inherently stupid, like genuinely retarded, because they will just hop on the bandwagon and parrot the same thing that everyone else is saying, and they will not have their own original thought on anything. You could say the sky was purple, and they would say the sky was purple because everyone was saying it. Not because they genuinely believed it or genuinely thought it or genuinely had the evidence or resource or experience to back it up. Most people on X are parroting nonsense and they have no idea what they're saying or the consequences of their actions because all they're doing is looking at what's in front of them. It's actually very sad. I feel bad for those people. And it's like if you were happy in your own home, in your own life, you would not be doing this. And even more so, a lot of them don't realize how much they expose about what's going on in their own relationships when they do these things. Because women, when they're in situations when they're being abused, it is evident that the man is being abusive because her behavior will scream it from the rooftops because women do not compartmentalize the way men do, and they start to act out in egregious ways because they cannot help it. They need a release, and they start to do a bunch of word vomit. And men, when men are being abused, well, that's evident as well. It just shows itself in different ways. It's like you're actually screaming from the rooftops what's genuinely happening, and you look like a fool. And you think that you're portraying to others that you hate all these different groups of people or you hate all these different groups of things, when in reality, you are just portraying to everybody that you hate yourself. Anyone with any sense can see exactly what's going on, except you for some reason, because you are so blinded by your own hatred and resentment. It is crazy. It's also why hating people and being racist is stupid, because it blinds you to the reality of what's actually going on. It blinds you to the true perception of what is genuinely in front of your face. And you can't even mitigate the war around you properly because you're choosing to see things the way you want to perceive them and the way you want it to be for your own benefit as opposed to how it genuinely is. I do not understand people who perceive things the way they feel them. I don't. Because I don't care about how I feel in a situation. I care about what it genuinely is. Yeah, I have this feeling towards something. Who cares? What is the genuine situation? Okay, I like this person and what they do with this and that and that. Okay, this person doesn't want to work with me. This person doesn't like me. Okay, this person is exceptional at this, that, and that, and I still like that about them, but they don't want to work with me and they don't like me. Okay, moving on. It is that simple. Feelings do not signify. The facts of the matter signifies. And people need to learn the difference, because right now they don't. Like, people are so caught up in their own resentment and hatred towards people and things that they can't reason through anything. A person with resentment cannot be trusted. A person with resentment is a liability. A racist person is a liability. I don't know. And not just racism, but any type of resentment or prejudice, or, you know, even as somebody who hates men or someone who hates women, they are liabilities, because men and women need each other to work together to accomplish most everything. That's why God created us. He said, "How don't you know? Don't his actions and words show you? Discernment is key. People doing anything on social media for validation is very sad." You're correct. Um, Honestly, I will look. I watched a podcast the other day with a couple men, and I appreciate uh, some of the things that were said there. That being said, the men were joking with each other throughout the podcast, and I had no idea what they were genuinely talking about. To say, sorry, excuse me, to say that I actually knew and understood what the men were saying would be a complete lie. But I'm sure the men watching understood. I've sat at tables with men and heard them discussing what sounded like very casual, calm, funny conversations where women were laughing. And when walking away and women asked what everyone was on about, they said they were talking about killing each other in a very serious way, like not even joking. And I've watched this happen many times. To sit down and say that a woman understands the actions and the mind of a man is deluded. Not saying men can be women and women can be men and we're the same. If I understand men the way that men are, then I'm the authority. I'm the head of the house. It's not how it works. God said men are the house band. That's why they're called husband. They are the house band. That's where the word comes from. They have the authority of headship and leadership. They are the ones who are supposed to understand on a higher level. They have more responsibility, therefore more knowledge and understanding. Do they still fully understand? No. My father tells me all the time, he doesn't understand women. He doesn't. Not the way women are, not the way women do. He will ask me and his other female family for clarification on things when he's dealing with women, because he knows that there's certain things that he just can't. Does man understand periods? Does man understand giving birth? Does man understand breastfeeding or holding a child in the womb for 9 months? No, he cannot. He literally cannot. Just like I can't understand what it's like to be a man, creating the circumstances for the success of your family or mitigating the circumstances of war. I thinking about that makes me want to like blast my face. I'm not even gonna lie, because I see my dad do it, and I know that I would just keel over and die. You said, "What made you so intelligent?" The grace of God and my Father alone. Literally, it it is servitude to God, and my Father is the only thing that gives me the grace of any form of intelligence that you might find within me. Um, said, that's a good insight. One thing makes a person dismiss a whole group, and women tend to overthink. Yeah, you already said that. Not all of us. The manipulative stuff blows my mind. At this point, I have no idea if being genuine and authentic is more of a weakness than a strength. Guilty. What you're saying is shocking to me. No, being genuine and authentic is good. My father is a very genuine, authentic man, and I'm a very genuine, authentic person. Jesus himself was genuine, authentic. Like that's what he he's our example. We are supposed to follow his example. And if he's genuine and authentic, we're supposed to be. People thought Jesus was weak. People thought Jesus was stupid. He wasn't. He's not. People think that genuine kindness is a weakness. It's not. The people who perceive it as weakness are stupid because they're blinded by rage and they can't control themselves. That's why they think it's a weakness, because they don't understand it and they always want to react. The Bible says no. So sorry. No. There's a lot of beautiful women in the world, but not all of them have a heart, mind, soul, and personality like yours. Twice as beautiful. Hope someday the right man that courts you becomes the latter. Courts you because of the latter. That's very kind. Thank you. By the grace of God and my Father alone, my friend. Um, by the grace of God and my Father alone. Whoever that man is, hopefully, hopefully he snatches me soon, because it's rough in these streets. You said you're gaining influence. I think men are better at acting like, but manipulation. I feel that's women's trait. Can be very much. Men are the real romantics. Yes, they are. Men are so romantic. Men are so loving and so compassionate. And people think men are not loving. They are. They most definitely are. You said his words and actions will show effort to understand and assist. His words and actions will show effort to understand and assist, but it's not. Women and men don't read things the same way. I'm not going to understand his actions the way a father would. Women will do everything to justify a man's poor behavior because we can't conceptualize the fact that a man would actually go out of his way to just come and do something wrong. There's a lot of intentional behaviors that men do wrong. Where my dad, he's like, no, he's done. Don't talk to him anymore. And I'm like, shoot, okay. I don't like, okay, true. All right. But women will be like, oh no, but like, what if he didn't know? My dad's like, no, he knew because, and then he outlines the whole thing. And women will sit there and be like, oh no, but, and then you know what? They'll go and continue and it'll come to bite them back like very quickly, short after, because they don't see it until it's too late. Women do not see circumstances or else they'd be mitigating them. Women don't play chess. Men play chess. What I'm trying to explain right now, and because I don't play chess, it's like hard to explain, but the fact is we don't see it the same way. And women will sit there and be like, because when women have a problem with another woman, we think, oh, okay, well, if I just tell her how I feel, like she's going to stop. Men are not like that. You can't tell a man, oh, this hurts my feelings, and he's just going to stop. Like, they need to be punched in the face. I don't know. I'm not advocating for violence, but like I see men like beat each other up and then they shake hands. Women won't do that. It's like if you get to the point where you're squaring up with your friend, you're probably not friends anymore. You're probably going to cry about it. Like. So it's like that. It's like that. It's very different. You said, uh, men should hold themselves to a higher standard. I don't know if the clip was shorter one from months ago, but January, whatever. I don't watch often anymore. That's where I first saw you on. Oh, the Whatever podcast. Yeah, they had the panel of Christian women, and a bunch of us Christian girls and conservatives were on there. It was a decent show. You were going back and forth with Andrew. I was frustrated as you. The men are responsible for their actions too. Oh yeah, Andrew had a very different opinion. Mr. Wilson, uh, Christian. I forget what his name is on Twitter. Paleo Christian, something like that. Yeah, he had some different points of view than me. Your whatever podcast explanation was the best about men playing chess. Wow, you saw that too, Victor. That's what's up. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's my father's definition. Honestly, I just regurgitate the information he gives me because I mean he explains it to me like that. I trust that that's true for men, and I add the part that's true for women. And this is the part of like how men and women are supposed to work together as a family, as fathers and daughters, and then one day that translates to a husband, and you learn that cooperation, and you pass that with him. This is why I very much need um, a husband that I can do a lot of the work that I'm doing now with, because it would get a lot further and I would do a lot more and a lot more efficient and a lot more better if I had a spouse. Yeah, people who do the things I'm doing need to be married. People tell me that like every day. You need to be married. Why aren't you married? Oh, I get it. I get it. I just can't marry anybody. Has to at least be someone that I appreciate and that can, work well with me, that can gel well with me or whatever. I agreed with you so much, and Andrew wouldn't come around and agree on that one point, but I agreed with you on everything you said that day. Well, thank you. That's very kind. Um, we're not always going to agree on everything. You can't always agree on everything. I don't even agree with myself 24/7. That's impossible. Um, but there were some things that they said that day, him and Brian, that I didn't necessarily agree with, but or the way that they approached things that I didn't agree with. My brother was watching the show and he was very angry. He was very angry. He said he could only watch like 4 hours of it because they said that was like their longest show and it was like 8 hours. And he said he was like working out for 4 hours. I was like, my poor brother. I love him though. My dad too. He was like, what in the world? He was very frustrated. But a lot of men actually said that they were very disappointed and frustrated with the way that they handled that situation. And those are men, so I'm like, okay, I trust you. What you think about that? But myself personally, I wish they would have been a little bit more respectful. It was a bit unkind, but they have their difference of opinion. Whatever. They have their differing opinion, and it is what it is. Um, I guess it wasn't like the end of the world, right? Like that's kind of what they do in the show. That's kind of like the way they operate with everybody. So I can't necessarily be like, you know, I'm not even like bothered by it. It was even so long ago, and I was laid back during the show about it. I'm laid back about it now. Um, all right. It is 10:14. To do you think your father would ever be guilty of vetting with the goal of finding perfection? No, my father is not an unreasonable man. My father tells me also consistently, Kaysha, you need to be married. You need a husband. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. He's like, I want you to be able to be married and have a family that you can enjoy and be happy with. But he's not going to approve of a man who's going to be a scumbag or abuse me or hurt me or not actually help me. Ultimately, the person needs to love God. That's all he cares about. That is the only requirement. Everyone acts like it's something like a serious requirement. My dad's not like, oh, this guy needs to have 6 foot six pack, six figures. The thing that every girl, that's crazy because that's 666. But all the stuff that girls are constantly talking about. My dad doesn't say that. He's a man. He doesn't care about those things. He is a man. He understands the circumstances of life. He understands men. My father's literal only requirement, it's not money, it's not status, it's not fame, it's not fortune, it's not assets, it's not resources, it's not cars, it's not body count, it's not anything. It's love God. That's it. The man needs to love Jesus and he needs to be willing. That's all he cares about. Me personally, the man needs to love God. He needs to be willing to love God, and he needs to respect my father, because if he respects my father, then he will love me very much. I that's what I understand. And he has to be intelligent. I need to respect his mind, because if I respect his mind, then I will always listen and cooperate well with him. Even if I disagree, we can come to like a decent, understanding of things or whatever. I just want him to love God and have a brain, and some respect for my dad and who he is. And I think that's fair. I think that's probably, but the thing is, my dad told me growing up, sorry, That is the hardest thing to obtain. A genuine love for God, of service to God. It's easier to obtain money because it's like it comes. Look at the crypto community. You can get money like that, and then they can lose it like that. You know, like it's a gambling game, and it comes and goes like nothing. But that love for Christ is eternal, and it's one where you bet on life. You bet against life itself. The very oxygen you breathe. You defend the honor of Christ with the oxygen you breathe. Like you are literally saying, I'm gonna give my life for this because I believe in this so much and I understand it and I know it to be true and I know that this is what's best and that this is of such high value that this is the risk I'm gonna take for all my days. And that is an exceptionally hard thing to find. But when you do find it, you have to hold on to it and never let it go because it's like that's the highest value. If I like if God blesses me with a husband that loves God, who is intelligent and respects me and my family, I'm at peace. I put on like Twitter or X, sorry. I was like, I've been eating the same filet o fish meal since I was like 5 from McDonald's. And you think I'll cheat? No. I am such a simple person. If I like something, I like something. And I'm not changing. I will eat the same thing over and over and over again. No, I'm not autistic. I'm just simple. If it works, don't fix it. If something works, I'm like, great. I never have to think about this ever again. I'll just use it like this whenever I need to and then move on to the next task. And when I fix that one, I never have to think about it ever again because now I've fixed it. Next task. Okay, now I fixed it. Never have to think about it ever again. This is what I'm thinking about marriage. Once I fix that task, I never want to think about it ever again. I now want to think how we can grow together, what we can build together. Who the hell wants to start all over again and put their marriage at risk? No, like nobody. That's such child play, like childish games of like people sleeping around and doing a boatload of stupidity. It's like, what is wrong with you? What is actually wrong with you? You like chaos and dissension. Why? You don't like to sleep at night? I enjoy sleeping at night. I enjoy peace and prosperity. And that doesn't come with like boatloads of people. And then you have to worry about death and disease. I don't want to, anyways, I'm not even going to get into all that. That's just too much chaos and headache. I don't want to deal with any of that. So, no, my father is not looking for perfection. That's a very long winded way to say, I'm sorry. I'm a woman. I'm long winded, sorry. I think, I process as I speak. That's another thing. Men speak less because they think and then they talk. Women talk to process and then they get to the conclusion as they speak. Anyways, no, my father is not looking for perfection. He's looking for someone who is willing, a willing servant of God. That's it. Someone willing to grow, someone willing to be a good person. That's it. That's very simple. Very simple. We're not difficult people at all. We are very laid back and very easygoing people. Very. TV and movies. I don't watch TV and movies. I don't. But if I was with somebody and they wanted to watch something, well, you said, in my humble opinion, that will help you narrow it down as to how many men out there are committed to God. Discernment will be key. Exactly. Exactly. Discernment. Discernment and the vetting of my father. I trust his. He's never been wrong about men before. He is a man, so. But now there's nowhere to hide since you pushed my love aside. I'm out of my head. Okay. TV and movies are the reason why everyone loves chaos. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. TV and movies are the reason why everyone loves chaos. Yeah. and they don't listen to their parents. You are mature and have more emotional, intelligent, and logical than most women are generally. We share a similar mindset and purpose. It's very kind, D. By the grace of God and my father alone, because I wouldn't think this way if I didn't listen to my father. It's literally the only reason I think this way. Like, I'm very feminine, but my thinking structure comes from my father. And this is why the way I think is actually evident of why fathers are so important, because fathers are the ones that give that logic, reasoning, and structure. Mothers give that love and nurture. The way that I am is just proof that you need fathers. Like, regardless of what happens to women, like, they can still be very structured, very organized, very um, logical or pragmatic, and still be feminine if they have a father. Because I don't, my father is very masculine. Like, I don't act like my dad. He just gave me his system of structure. Like, and I put that system into place in my own mind and actions and behaviors as a woman. So it's like it's a much more feminized version of the analytical system he's brought me up with. So souls like you make me think of reincarnation, like you've been here before. And people say this. I don't know. People say people in a certain way come once in a lifetime, but no, I don't believe in reincarnation. I'm a Christian. Um, I'm a Christian through and through. But now there's nowhere to hide. Since you pushed my love aside, I'm out of my head. Hopelessly devoted to you, and it's true. Okay, guys, it's been real. It's been real. I am going to write down the answers that I gave you for my homework. And then I'm going to try and get some rest because it is late and I am sick. I'm definitely sick. And actually, I think I have early class tomorrow. Like, quite early class. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining me for the stream. Thanks for listening to the Bible study and a little bit my assignment. Pray and thank God for all of his love, grace, and tender mercies. Thank God for the hardship of life. You're growing, you're becoming better. Pray and thank God for all the wondrous works that he's doing in my life, because he's delivered me expeditiously and exponentially from many a thing, especially even as of late. And things are looking up for me. Things are consistently looking up. Even when things are difficult, they're looking up. And as I said, if you guys ever, if you guys ever want to support the work that I'm doing, because everything that my father and I do are on our own dime in the Karis Project, the show that we host together, as well as this one, you could always go to the link in the description and send us a donation on our donor box. You can buy our merch. We have cups, we have sweaters, and things like that, t-shirts, and you can support us this way. Or you can subscribe to us on X, on our page, which is also in the description. You can subscribe to me, paid or free, on the Chronicles of My Heart, which is on my Substack. And you can also now listen to our podcast, The Karis Project, on Spotify or iHeartRadio.com, iHeart.com, and also Spotify. Those are streaming there. So go follow us on there, please, and give some love and support. And thank you, everyone, already for all the love and support you give. I know I've been have not been writing a little bit in the Chronicles, but I'm gonna start back. I'm gonna start back. I've been procrastinating on that low key, uh, but it's gonna make a comeback. I have things to say. I just I have to just say them. Sometimes when you don't write things for like a hot minute, you can get a little bit like I don't know like shy. And sometimes I can be shy. I don't know. Sometimes I'm shy, sometimes I'm not shy, and it doesn't even make sense. But anyway, circumstantial. Anyways, guys, it's been real. Have a good night. I will catch you later. Um, Ciao. You said, what? Why did you delete that? I was just reading it. Like you said, promise what? Why did you just delete that? Why are you like this? Write it again. That might take too long. I don't know if I want to wait for that. Sorry. Sorry. Uh, okay, I don't know now. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess it's a no. Oh, he said, good night. Sorry I missed Kaysha. I worked late. It's okay, Josh. Thanks for joining. You can watch it back and share it with your friends. Please. Okay, guys. I'm officially out. I'm officially out. I'll check you later. Okay, bye.